Okay, as I said, that one, okay. As I said, I'm going to stick close to wearing my glasses and on the platform today, not moving around so much, just because. Just because. All right, we're talking about ever-expanding love and abundance today, and so I looked up a couple of relationship jokes, and always, they're not meant to offend anyone, right? Because everything is okay in unity. So relationships are a lot like algebra. Have you ever looked at your ex and wondered why? Yeah. Never laugh at your wife's choices because you're one of them. Wife to her husband, do you want dinner? He says, sure. What are my choices? She says, yes and no. Then he gets back by saying a man invited a woman over to his home for a 7-course meal. She said, that's lovely. What are we going to have? He said, a hot dog and a 6-pack of beer. Last one, knock, knock. Who's there? Olive. Olive, I love you and don't care who knows it. There we go. So those are our little humor for today. Yay. So ever-expanding love and abundance. I wanted to start, even though it's early, what is it? It's only November, to start with the love of the Christmas season and to be thinking about that. Maybe you're starting to do some shopping. I think Black Friday's coming, Cyber Monday is coming, all of that. And I just thought I want to begin thinking about ever-expanding love and abundance that's so much a part of the season. This sacred season begins to fill full our hearts and our minds with Spirit's presence. And I often find myself wondering, in the magic of Christmas, if Jesus had a Christmas list, a wish list, what would be on it? Have you ever, just kind of a fun thing to think about, isn't it? If you had a Christmas list, what might be on it? What gift might I offer that would truly touch the generous heart and the wisdom, the Christ Spirit, honor that liberating wisdom of his teachings? And each year that question does challenge my heart to search for a gift. What might I consider wrapping up in love and intention to give to the Christ Spirit within me? How might I set the tone for my coming year in terms of gifting myself with a greater realization of living and being in that universal Christ presence? In John chapter 14, verse 21, Jesus was very clear. He that has my commandments and keeps them, he it is that loves me. And he that loves me not, keeps not my commandments. So which commandments might I choose to live more fully in my life this year as a gift to the Christ presence or the Christ Spirit that lives in me? How might I become more into union and connection with that Spirit and live it more fully? So this morning I thought, let's go shopping and see what gift we might find for our spirits. And this past week I was reading in Andrew Harvey's book, The Son of Man. How many of you ever heard Andrew Harvey speak or seen his videos? Or some of you have. He's phenomenal. He has a deep British accent and he's extremely passionate when he speaks. And I've heard him a couple of times, and what I love about Andrew is his connection to, he studied with all of the gurus all over the world. I think he was raised or schooled in India. And so he has all these deep connections, but his deepest connection is to the Christ presence. And his book, The Son of Man, is about his understanding and some very wise teachings about Jesus. And in it he says, if I can find it here, Jesus said, speaking as the universal Christ consciousness, sometimes Jesus spoke as the man and sometimes as the Christ. But speaking as the universal Christ, Andrew writes, he said, I am the Alpha and the Omega. I am the Christ, the first and the last. Now think about this as your own internal spiritual presence. I am the first and the last. I am Spirit, the one who lives within you and who wants to live you completely. Think about that. I am the Spirit, I am Spirit, the one who lives within you and who wants to live you completely. I am the living spirit that you are. I am you as you can and must become. I am your beginning and your end. I am you as you can and must become. So there's that presence in us that whenever we get still for a few minutes, you can feel it. You know we're here because there's something so much more in us than this human self of us that goes to work and has a job and eats dinner and all that stuff. And when you get still and you really listen, there is that presence that it's ever near you, it's ever powerful, it's ever loving, and I am you as you can and must become. I love that word that Andrew teaches us. So our first gift selection, how about committing to live from your true identity? Commit to this idea, and I have a slide for that. To internalize this idea, living from your true identity, which is the Christ Spirit is a dynamic, alive, powerful, moving force of good in me and in my life. What if you got up every day and said that? What if every concern you have, every despairing thought or every worry or every hope of the results of the presidential election, what if you got up every day and said, the Christ Spirit in our universe, in our world, in our nation, in our governing power, in me, is a dynamic, alive, powerful, moving force of good in me, in my life, in our country, in our nation. What if you made room for that, right? It's just living your true identity, to make a commitment between now and Christmas, anything that comes up in your life, to be able to say, the Christ presence that's in me, ever near me, I'm living out from it, is a dynamic, alive, powerful, moving force of good in me and in my life. That's a first gift, I think, that would be really good. It's clear that at the heart of Jesus' life and teaching was a continuous, living, mystical experience of that Christ presence, of the presence of God, right? And he had an inherent understanding of his identity in God. You know, he's the human man that just incarnated but grasped more fully the realization of this flow of divine energy that he was, that created him and that he lived from. Andrew's words. Jesus saw and knew the entire creation was alive in spirit. Look around the room. Every one of us is alive in spirit. Look at the person next to you, the person behind you, the person in front of you. Say to the person near you, you're alive in spirit. Look at somebody in the room. You're alive in spirit. You can feel it. You can feel the energy move in the room. You can feel that. Jesus saw and knew the entire creation was alive in spirit. He saw and knew that at the core of human consciousness there is a spark of the divine. It's the light that lights every man that comes into the world. Every man and woman coming into the world comes out of that spark of the divine, which is one with God and one in the it's the magnificence, the light of the magnificence that we live from. So Andrew invites us to think of the powerful spirit that moved and lived in and through Jesus Christ. Then think of the same spirit as being in you, right? He said, the things that I do, you can do also, and even greater things, because we will have evolved and have greater understanding and greater and more full connection to this relationship of the divine. I watched a video this week with Brian Swim and Matthew Fox. Brian Swim is a cosmologist. He wrote The Universe is a Green Dragon. He's amazing when talking about the universe and cosmology. His wife was a first grade teacher, and so he wrote a book for first graders to help them understand the allness of the universe and that we are. And he said in this video, he talked about, think of it, 14 billion years ago, there was some kind of primordial goo or energy that created all of the universe, expanded into everything we know as the universe, into us. And then he says, we are now searching back 14 billion years to understand how all that happened. He said, it's just so magnificent. There's so much intelligence. So think of the powerful spirit that moved and lived in and through Jesus, and that same spirit is in you. Take the idea, this one, the Christ spirit is a dynamic, alive, powerful, moving force of good in me and as me. And when you think of a gift idea like this, when you affirm these words, you make a conscious connection with the spiritual power that lives in you. And you can feel the actual currents the actual currents, if you let it, feel like when we sing, you make all things new. You can feel the vibration of that idea moving in your heart and in your mind. So when you take the affirmation, the Christ Spirit is a dynamic, alive, powerful moving force in me, you can feel that moving in your mind and in your heart. Through all the days, let's see, where am I here? If you're looking to give meaning and purpose to your life, give the gift of knowing your true identity and use this affirmation. The Christ Spirit is a dynamic, alive, powerful, moving force of good in me. Now for our second gift selection, I have 3 gifts that we can think about becoming or offering into ourselves and into the Spirit within us. For our second gift, Jesus said, "Know me as your innermost heart. Know my power as your power, my love as your love, and you will come into the splendor of direct vision." And that's infinite intelligence. When you sit in the quiet and you think, I am a child of God. I am the Christ of God. I'm an outpicturing or an outpouring, an offspring of that divine mind that is God. And when you do that, you're opening yourself to infinite intelligence. The whole wisdom of the universe is at your fingertips and can drop in. Jesus said, "I, as Jesus on earth, gave everything to try to give to you. He who follows his inner Christ Spirit will not walk in darkness, for he will have the light of life." Everything you need to become one with this life, I am. And I am will be revealed to you if you meditate with all your heart, body, and mind and soul on the life I led when I lived with you. And the life that Jesus led when on the planet, as we understand it, is constantly referring to that spark of the divinity within him. So the splendor of direct vision for the second gift, we might choose faith. And I think there's a slide for that, yeah. Faith and the splendor of infinite intelligence that's available to us to answer any concern, solve any problem, just made available. And we want to practice relying on the guidance of that indwelling Christ Spirit for everything. If something you can't figure out, something you're worried about, just surrender into that knowingness, and direct vision. Inspiration will come, is available to move in and through you. What a great second gift. Christ is the director and way shower, opening up ways where there seems to be no way. This is a great affirmation for you when you're making a decision. Should I stay in this job? Should I change jobs? Should I make that phone call? Should I forgive that person? Whatever it is, you can get still and call that presence that's ever near you. Let it become in and through you and affirm Christ is the director and way shower. And that's the universal Christ consciousness. That's infinite intelligence is the way shower, opening up ways where there seems to be no way. Have you ever stood at a crossroads and just said, I can't figure this out. I don't get it. I don't know what I don't know, and I don't know what I don't know. I've done that before. I signed up for some kind of exercise program this past week, and they just pelted me with emails. Sign up, do this, fill out this questionnaire, do this. It was exhausting. Plus, I had my nails done, and I can't type in the things on my phone that I'm supposed to do. And I just thought, I need to go first of all, have these all cut off, and so I can type again. So I'm making a lot of mistakes. And I just thought, what am I doing here? And then I remember, Christ is, there's an infinite intelligence that's the way shower, opening up ways where there seems to be no way. I couldn't figure out all the stuff I'm supposed to do to report in, to track my sit-ups and my reps with my weights and all that stuff. How many of you are really good on the computer at that stuff? See, we all need infinite intelligence. We're kind of at an age group where that's more of a learning curve for us than somebody that's younger, like our AV techs. They just get it. When I need help, I go to Jesse. He's 17. He can help me with all of that. Anyway, the third gift is, or the second gift, Christ is the director and way shower, opening up ways where there seems to be no way. And that's the universal Christ consciousness. That's the collective consciousness that's all of us sitting in this room right now. Right now we're all sparking lights of infinite intelligence and currents and waves, and we're feeling it, and it moves in and through the room, and you can just get still and tap into it and let it be revealed what your answer is. Let it come to you and through you. And you'll know. And you'll know that you know, because there'll be that inner assurance, that peace that passes all human understanding, because it's spiritual understanding that's dropped in to give you your answer. Our third gift selection is being love, becoming love. Jesus said, I did not come to found a religion and be worshipped. I came to embody and enact a path to a wholly new life, the life of divine love on earth. I came to embody and enact a life of divine love. So that presence that's in you, sparking you, ever near you, is in you to enact a life of divine love in and through you. How can I be more loving? How can I become love? Andrew Harvey says, this is a life so profound and abundant that when tasted and known, it must transform everything into the kingdom. Jesus said, I came to awaken everyone and to bring all beings into love, out of love, for love. The life of divine love on earth is a worthy gift. And the way we can take that on this season is, next slide please, is to let Christ be formed in me. Let that universal Christ consciousness that's in me radiate through me and out from me, radiate out from my heart as love. I was sitting in an experience this week, and it was a little bit, I don't want to say intimidated, that hardly ever happens to me, but I felt something unsettled when I walked into the experience, and I took a minute and I just dropped my attention into my heart, and I said, I want to radiate love so fully from me that I come into the room in peace and love and happiness and joy, and everyone whose life I touch in here feels that from me. That's this idea of let Christ be formed in me as love. You are a radiating center of divine love and wisdom, and when you claim it for yourself and you begin to vibrate in that, it goes before you and clears your way. Makes your path clear. So third gift is being loved. Jesus said, I did not come to found a religion and be worshipped. I came to embody and enact a path to a wholly new life, a life of divine love on earth, a life so profound and abundant that when tasted and known, it must transform everything into the kingdom. How many of you remember falling in love for the first time? And did you find yourself saying, oh, when I'm in love, I can do anything, right? I mean, anything is possible. And that's really a union of love in you that makes all things possible. So we say, let Christ be formed in me as love. Because our lives have become so full, many people are experiencing stress and a sense of overwhelm and depression, feelings of futility. In Unity, we know that feelings follow thought. So you can begin to feel better. To begin to feel better, you want to remember the character. Let the character of love pervade your thinking. Let it rule in your heart. Let it control your emotions, and let it keep you in perfect peace. Let the light and love shine through your words and your acts. Let the love of Christ rule in your heart. Pervade your thinking. That's a big one, because you can get really down and dejected. Several people have shared with me since the election, they're so depressed, so disappointed, and I thought, that's not the answer to anything. There's lifting up. When you lift up your own consciousness, Jesus said, if I be lifted up, I will what? Draw all unto me. When the boat lifts up on the water, when the water rises, everything lifts up. So we have to keep our thinking toward happiness and hope and wisdom and guidance. Let the love of Christ in your heart control your emotions, keep you in perfect peace. And then Andrew wrote, Christ is the spirit within you, which knows neither depression nor defeat. Wherever you are in your life right now, if there's loneliness or heartache or heartbreak or whatever, Christ is the spirit within you, which knows neither depression or defeat. Christ is that in you which is never bound by habit, circumstance, or limitations of any kind. At the new year, we all start out on a new workout or diet plan or something. This is it. Christ is that in you which is never bound by habit, circumstance, or limitations of any kind. Christ is that in you which is always strong, always an overcomer. What are you overcoming right now in your life? The Spirit of God within you is your strength and your power. Christ is that in you which is never distressed or disturbed by conditions around you. There you go, election people. If you're uncomfortable or unsettled about those results, the Christ Spirit in you is never distressed or disturbed by conditions around you. Christ is that in you which is never critical or fault-finding of others. There you go, election people. Christ is that in you which stands free. Andrew wrote, it cannot be emphasized too often that the vision of God that Jesus derived from his inner experience was a God of love, a love so boundless, so overflowing, and so continually self-outpouring in every way that for Jesus it was blasphemy to speak of love in a narrow or judgmental way. So I'm going to pause and put some parentheses here because I've had this conversation with a couple of people in terms of what's happening in our government, in our nation. And there's something, I don't know, well, anyway, I'll just say it. So Judas betrayed Jesus, right? Judas was one of the disciples that worked with Jesus and said, he's got all this power and he could really change things. And why isn't he more of an activist? Why doesn't he do more of this? So Judas betrayed Jesus thinking that would spark or encourage Jesus into showing his power and solving all the problems with the Roman government. What that did was lead to the resurrection. Jesus did demonstrate his power, but it led him to say to gather up all that initial power of the universal Christ consciousness into resurrection, into bursting forth a whole new way of living, being, and understanding in the world. So Judas, rather than seen as a betrayer in Scripture, in unity, is what we call a divine initiate. He initiated the resurrection. He initiated, no matter how dark and awful circumstances are, he initiated Jesus' ability to show there is new life, there's eternal life, there's resurrection. So what if we think of what's currently going on in America and those who are in the lead, those who are elected as president to guide us, are divine initiates. Are divine initiates to bring all the racism, all the negativity, all the stuff up to the top to be skimmed off so that purity and cleansing can take place in our country. What if, like Judas, President-elect Trump is here to be a divine initiate for America? How do you feel about that? What if that spirit in him is transforming everything that's happening in our nation? You see, so when we think about the universe and get, the 30,000-foot view, what's happening? I was teaching my grandniece to stand in the middle of the room and go, "What's happening? What's happening, Mom? What's happening?" So what's happening? What if we expand our vision into seeing things that are happening as an initiation into a collective consciousness that gives birth to a nation that we are, of beauty and love and equality and the sacred worth of every human being? It doesn't look like that at times. Judas wanted to push Jesus into taking command and being the emperor or whatever, ruler or whatever was happening in his day, and squelching the Roman army to stop oppressing the Jewish nation. So that he was an initiate, often seen as the darkest one of the disciples, but he was a divine initiate that initiated the resurrection. So are we being resurrected? Are we being offered the opportunity of resurrection into the truth of who we are and the sacred worth of every human being? And how do we stand in that as a collective consciousness and vibrate in that so fully by becoming love that it transforms our world? America's leading country in our world. So, how did I get off on this? The supreme message of Jesus. Feeling follows thought. Where was that in my notes here somewhere? Feeling follows thought. Christ is that spirit within you that knows neither depression nor defeat. Think about that. Christ is that in you which is never bound by habits, circumstances, or limitations of any kind. Christ is that in you which is never distressed or disturbed by conditions around you, because you know there is an infinite intelligence that's guiding and directing everything that's happening in and through us, in and through our government, in and through our nation, our country, and our world. Christ is that in you which stands free. It cannot be emphasized too often that the vision of God that Jesus derived from his inner experience was a God of love, a love so boundless, so overflowing, and so continually self-outpouring in every way that for Jesus it was blasphemy to speak of it in a narrow, judgmental way. A continual self-outpouring of love in every way. Is that what's happening? Is that what's happening? Is that what's forming in our minds and in our hearts? So that on the small scale, I always get mixed up micro and macro. On the tiny scale, there's a love so outpouring in your life that it's transforming everything. And that vibration in you is outpouring love so much that it's transforming our nation and our country. We're a collective consciousness of what? Americans. Americans. What's the American collective consciousness, if not love and the sacred value of every human being, the sacred worth and love and possibility and highest possibility for all? Okay. So the supreme message of Jesus to humanity was God is love, extravagant, beyond measure, infinitely tender-hearted, and ever ready to give, support, and bless. So let's call on that infinite intelligence now to guide us and stay reliant on it. Emmett Fox wrote this beautiful commentary on love. He says, there is no difficulty that enough love will not conquer, no disease that enough love will not heal, no door that enough love will not open, no gulf that enough love will not bridge, no wall that enough love will not throw down, no sin that enough love will not redeem. It makes no difference how deeply seated may be the trouble, how hopeless the outlook, how muddled the tangle, how great the mistake. A sufficient realization of love will dissolve it all. It makes no difference how deeply seated may be the trouble, how hopeless the outlook, how muddled the tangle, how great the mistake. A sufficient realization of love will dissolve it all. Let Christ be formed in me as love. 3 great gift choices today. First, the gift of living your true identity, which is the Christ consciousness that you are individually. The Christ Spirit is a dynamic, alive, powerful, moving force of good in me and in my life. Second is the gift of living your faith. Christ is the director and way shower, opening up ways where there seems to be no way. That's allowing the infinite intelligence of Spirit to move in and through you. And third, and most importantly, the gift of being love, not becoming it, but being it. Let Christ be formed in me as love. So think about those 3. Which one do you feel best as we move into the holiday season? And we're still kind of several weeks away from that. I thought this might be too early to do a Christmas message, but I wanted to. Which one feels best? And I hope between now and Christmas morning you choose one of these and make a commitment to give the gift to yourself, to rely on Spirit as a dynamic, alive, powerful, moving force, to rely on Spirit opening up ways where there seems to be no way, or to just cultivate in yourself a greater expression of being love. It's my prayer for each one of you as you enter into this season, that you enter into a life of ever-expanding love and abundance, and that you experience the birth and the awakening of the truth of who you are as a child of God, a child of the Almighty, a child of the living Christ within you. So God bless you. Think about those 3 gifts. Let's take it into a time of prayer and meditation so we can feel after it. So take a deep breath in. I love the meditation thing I've been learning where you smell the rose and blow out the candle. Let's take a deep breath in and let it go. Smell the rose and blow out the candle. That calms your pulse rate and your heart loves you for that. And I invite you to open yourself to hearing Spirit's customized plan for you, for your life. Turn over a new leaf, turn that page, and step into the fullness and the reality of who you are in God. The Christ Spirit is a dynamic force of good in your life. The Christ Spirit in you is opening ways where there seems to be no way. New ways, fun ways, powerful ways, prosperous ways. Let Christ be formed in you as love. Let your attention drop into your heart and just feel light radiating out from your chest to your world, to your family, to your loved ones, to the person sitting on your left, on your right, to the person sitting behind you and in front of you. You are just this cyclone of love and light. And anything you face in life, just take a moment to connect that way into your heart with your spiritual presence. Let Christ be formed in me as love. From this day forward, let me live more fully from that. Let Christ be formed in me as love. Let's affirm it. Let Christ be formed in me as love. And let's listen once more to Andrew's words. Let them be absorbed into your heart. Think of it as your own Christ Spirit speaking to you, in you. I am the Alpha and the Omega. I am the Christ, the first and the last. I am the one who lives within you and who wants to live you completely. I am the living one you are. I am you as you can and must become. I am your beginning and your end. That Christ's presence in you is eternal. It was with you in your consciousness before you were born into this world, and it will be with you eternally. Know me as your innermost heart. For whatever's going on in your life, know my power as your power, my love as your love. And as you do this, you will come into the splendor of direct vision. Follow your inner spirit, and you will not walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. Infinite intelligence will come alive in you, and everything you need to become one with the great I Am will be revealed to you. When you take on this awareness, Jesus said, "What I have done you can do, if you do it in my name, in my power, in my way, in my spirit, with my passion, my humility, and my surrender to the all-knowing mind, to the divine." Jesus said, "I did not come to found a religion and be worshipped. I came to embody and enact a path to a whole new life, a life of divine love on earth." We know that now for the United States of America. We know that now for all those in leadership, in governance of our nation and our world. The Spirit of God is here to embody a profound and abundant love that, when tasted and known, must transform everything into a kingdom of wholeness. I feel the gift that Jesus left for us is for each of us to know ourselves in the Christ Spirit and like the Christ Spirit, a child of the Father, Mother, God. That each of us is directly fed with wisdom and love from the source. May you become the hands and the feet, the mouth, the body, the activity of love. May you live and work and act with the tireless stamina of love to transform every facet of your life and the world into beauty, into the splendor and the glory of God's kingdom. He that has my commandments and keeps them, he it is that loves me. Let Christ be formed in me as love. Again, let Christ be formed in me as love. And when you feel love, it's important to encircle all your loved ones, your family, your friends, your co-workers, again, our nation, our governing powers. And to let that love that's in your heart, which is one with all humanity, radiate out. So that we let it transform every facet of their lives, their hearts, their minds, their circumstances. For all those we love this morning and all those who've asked for prayer from this ministry, for all the names in our prayer chest asking for prayer support, our affirmation for others is, let Christ be formed in you as love. Let Christ be formed in you as love. Together, let Christ be formed in you as love. And then know and feel after that all-powerful, all-knowing, all-supporting sufficiency to support your loved one. He that has my commandments and keeps them, he it is that loves me. So we offer the gift of our true identity, the gift of faith and reliance on infinite intelligence, and the gift of love. We keep those three items in our heart this year. And so it is. Together we give thanks, and together we all say, Amen.